Hello and welcome. Today I want to show you my updated end results of my budget workbook that I've done through Google Sheets. I do want to show you, this is my old one and I've been using it for 4+ years. It's the paycheck allocation budget. And this works for me, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that I got this from, but I thought I needed to update it. So here's the most updated. I still use the paycheck allocation, but I've added some other things. And then where I got that is from this gentleman, Abyssal Spark. He goes into great detail how to make this particular budget that you're looking at in front of you right now. It's 4 parts. I highly recommend it. But I did do some things differently, which I am not going to go over. I'm not going to do a tutorial on. It's very time consuming, but he goes over his. So if you want to start your budget through Google Sheets, I highly recommend it. I'll put him in the description below. But there are formulas throughout my budget workbook, and therefore I have a lock. So that way, like I've done my mom's budget, if she tries to make changes, let's say to that, she can't. So there are a lot of aspects of this that is protected, but for what she needs, she's still able to edit. And that's why you see the lock here. So you're able to do it month by month, but since we pretty much know what we bring in, I do it for the rest of the year. The only time I touch the budget is if like we go out of town or something major happens, then I'll go ahead and make some adjustments. But for the most part, I don't touch it once I do our budget. So to the left is where you would put your bills. So we have pay yourself first, and whatever you put here ends up showing up here as well as on the side here. So we'll say Sam, Nikki, and see, as you put it up here, it goes up here. This over here is only for fixed income. We'll say checking, emergency. We'll say food, gas. We'll say car insurance, rent insurance, vacation, pet, and we'll just say maintenance for the car. Fixed is what you pay on a monthly basis. So, I mean, car insurance and renter's insurance can go there as well if you're the type to where you take whatever you would pay in 6 months and divide it by 6 months, and then you would just allocate out the month to go towards that. So you could do that to where renters and car insurance is in the fixed income. And I may do that, but for now, like I just budget big chunks of checks towards when it's due. So I may do it the other way around, but this is rent, utilities. We'll say BMW, Rogue, Netflix, Spotify. We'll say Visa, bank fee, cable, HSD, and you see what it does. So up here is where it is, and then also down here, the cars. Some people like to keep track of what they owe on the cars. So then the next thing you would do is you would work on your source of income. So I've just put Comcast, Spirit, United. Most places you get paid twice. Some people are once a month, so you'll adjust the budget accordingly. This month we get paid 3 times on 2 of the sources, so this would have been filled up too, but I'm not doing that just for the sake of time. We'll just act like we're only getting paid twice a month from each company. So as you can see here, when you put this here, some things start to pop up, and it also comes here because remember, this is your paycheck allocation section. So when you have amount here, you're gonna allocate your paycheck accordingly. So let's say, you know, Comcast is 900, Spirit is 800, United 500. So you want to get as close as possible to what you actually bring in from each company, and then just leave it alone. So this is what we budget and every month. So that's why I do the whole, like the whole rest of the year. I don't need to do month by month because I truly do not touch it. So we're budgeting 4,400 to bring in. So you'll see 4,400 here, 4,400 here, and that's these added up. Your due dates, you would, you know, do the dates due. I'll show you my mom's. Hers is a little bit different because hers are set dates that she gets paid. And then any notes that, you know, need to do. So then 4,400. So because we were getting paid, we will pay ourselves. If we were getting paid 3 times a month from 2 of the sources, we would put 500, but we're not, so 400. And then it comes here. So as you allocate money, this goes down. This should be 0 at the end of it. This should equal this here. But eventually it'll be excuse me, negative 4,400. And of course you have this down here. So the next thing is rent. We'll say 1,200. Utilities is 120, 400, 400. Netflix is 10, Spotify is 10. Visa, we'll say is 28. Bank fee is 1. Cable, we'll say 100. HSD is 50. So the major bills we've gotten taken care of. So you have a little over 1,200 left over. So then, of course, food, gas, 300. We'll say 400, 100. So at least 181. Not much for your savings. So we'll say emergency will be 50. Pet 50, maintenance 50. And 25 and 6. So you can do it like that, or you can do the whole $31 to your vacation. It's however you want to do it. So you can do 31 instead. And nothing in checking. Of course, you are going to have balances accruing into checking because your checking will keep change. So here you go. This is 4,400, 4,400, 4,400. Everything's 4,400. So everything balances out. So then what you want to do is you want to allocate your budgeted amount to each bill. And as you put amounts here, this will decrease, eventually being this negative, being 0. And then this will decrease. All this will decrease and it should be 0. So depending on your due dates of your bills will determine which check you're going to pay it out of. So we're just going to rent. We're not going to really touch because that's due at the end of the month. So typically, of course, pay us first. And food, do next. Gas, because you need that because that's going to last you a whole month. So that leaves $100 left over. And that's probably going to go towards utilities. And as you can see, that's $20 left over in utilities. So then we're on column E. We have 800. So we'll go ahead and take care of that utilities. So we have the money for that, or that's budgeted. Next up, let's see, maybe cable. Again, this is depending on your due dates of your bills. You will do things differently. Visa. All right, so that leaves about 131 left on this check. That'll go towards one of the cars. So then we're in column G. We have 500. So we have 269 remaining off of that. 231 goes towards that BMW, so that's 169 remaining. So hopefully your car note is due after the 16th. If not, you might have to do things differently in budget. So we're going to say it's due on the 17th. So this check, it'll be paid by this check. So that leaves on this column I 700 and hold on, we forgot to allocate ourselves first, third. So let me just go ahead and take care of this. There we go. So of course, like I said, pay yourselves first. So 300, we'll go ahead and take care of that Rogue. That leaves 31. HSD is 50. So 181 here. Okay, so that's 0. So then out of this check is 219. That leaves 81. So the next major thing is the rent. So we got our 100. So that chunk will go towards rent. That leaves 419. That'll be taken out of column K. That leaves $381. So your rent is taken care of depending on your place. You may be able to pay early. I pay our rents like around the 25th of the previous month, so that's taken care of. So then the next thing would probably be the car insurance. And that leaves $19. Oh. So how you know you're doing this right is your last check, 300 remaining, 300 remaining in bills. So you can start to $100, $31, $50, and $50. So we got 0 here and 0 down there. So everything is accounted for. So now we can start doing the paycheck. So let's say we brought in 1,100, and for whatever reason, it could have been I worked overtime. It's a $200 difference. So that's over what we budgeted. So depending on you, you could just put it towards savings, keep it in checking, but 9 times out of 10, I don't work overtime, so that money's coming to me. So Sam will get his 100. I'm going to leave mine blank. I'm going to go ahead and allocate the rest accordingly. It looks like everything is going to get taken care of out of that check. At least $300, and I'm pocketing that. That's $100 from what we budgeted, and then the $200 difference. So then up here, you can see where whatever paycheck you accrued, balance is accrued here. And so this 1100 should match whatever balance is remaining here. And then this should be here. All right, so, and then the reason why this is still, this is a negative 100 because we haven't paid it yet. So we're still missing a $20 balance. So the reason why these are still red is because we haven't reached the budget amount. So these are going to stay red. And here we have, this we have not because we're still missing 20 bucks. So let's say, you know, typically you're always going to have change. So 825 cents. We'll say we didn't quite meet this. So that's going to show a negative 25. 901 cent. 801.25. 497.36. It's always some oddball thing. So we were short $25 on this check, and we were short $2.64 on this check. But overall, we were still over our budgeted amount in a good way. So we budgeted $4,400. We brought in a little over $4,500. The difference is $173.87. You know, because it's subtracting the 25 and 62. So 173.87 is what. So now we're just going to allocate. So two of these are going to be affected. Bills here. So 20, 181, 400, 10, 28, 150. So that leaves 25 cents. 25 cents is change. So keep that in your checking. All right. So 475. So even though we were short, you're still going to put the amount because you're going to pull from either your savings or somewhere to make up that $25 of a bill that's missing. This really should have been red, but oh well. So 700. So that leaves 1 cent stays in checking. All right, so we have 381, 419. So that leaves $1.25. Just keep that in checking. So you could always, so that you're not pulling out of savings or whatever, you can adjust the amount, you know, so that way one of your savings is going to be affected. But like for instance, we're short, you know, $2.64. So you can put the exact amount. So the car insurance, you don't want to mess with that. It's 100. So instead of $31, it's gonna actually be $28.36. So we didn't quite meet the budget for the month for vacation. So if you wanted to, you can make this adjustment where, you know, you'll add 25 here, but you're gonna have to make adjustments elsewhere. But you can do it to where you're not, you know, where you're going to take 25 away from one of your savings. It'll probably be vacation. So you could do it like that if you wanted to. That's however you do your budget. But up here, you can see the surplus, $200 checking. You budgeted nothing, but $151. Vacation, you were short $2.64. So down here is what the remaining balance is. But it'll change once you actually start paying your bills. So now we're here paying our bills. So let's say rent, you paid the exact amount. And so you see that went away, and that's the balance paid. Now, whether you pay, if it's the full amount and you paid in full, then you hit yes, and that'll turn green. If you, let's say you budgeted $1,200, but your rent was actually $1,300, and that was the full amount, then you're in a negative $100, and that you're going to pull from somewhere. So it'll tell you if you even went over your budget, you'll like negative 100. But we'll keep it since we paid the exact amount. Utilities, you budgeted $120, but let's say your utilities was only $95. But that is the amount that you paid in full. So instead of a negative 25, you're actually a surplus of $25 that you would keep in your checking account. So we'll do, what was it? BMW 400. That was paid in full. That is 400. Netflix is 10. Spotify is 10. Visa was 28. Bank fee is $1. Cable, you paid 100 and 50. All right. So not too many reds, not too bad. And then as you can see, your car information, this is what you paid. So this is the remaining balance that you have. And then over here, you have a surplus of $25, and that's because you budgeted $120, but your bill was actually $95, and that's what you paid. So this should remain in your checking. If you have any cents left over from here, that should remain in your checking, along with anything that you've allocated here or even budgeted. So that's what this is here. The difference of the remaining balance. So it would have been $201.51, but it was short on vacation, $2.64. So the difference is here. And this is what you paid in bills total here. So 2,200, a little over almost 2,300. So that's how our budget works. Now, how my mom's is a little bit different is hers is set on the 15th and the 31st of the month. Plus she has my brother's, so she could, do the dates if she wanted to. But hers is set in stone. And then if like she was to get her tax money and put that towards, bills or whatever, she could do that. But if not, however, but hers is just slightly different than ours. Now the other thing that I wanted to show you is I just plugged in some numbers here just to kind of go over our asset tracker. This is our asset expense tracker. So anytime we have to pull money from like our cash, our savings account, or our checking, we track it here. And it's always going to be a negative, and it will be adjusted here. So, you know, Dr. Pepper, she's getting her groom, $60. We don't have a balance accrued for her, so she's already in the negative 60. So technically, I could have taken it out of emergency, or if I wanted to, but eventually, throughout our budget for the rest of the year, I have money allocating towards her, so it'll just stay negative until money is built up. And the same, you know, with maintenance, car wash, we're gonna take it out of maintenance. Eventually, we'll have a balance, but right now we don't have a balance, so it's in the negative. So it'll like, and it's based off the month. So if we did want 500 taken out of emergency, but let's say this is like July, it'll be taken out of July. And this is what we'll have remaining if that was an actual amount that we have. So that is how and then we notate what it's for. So, like, if one of our allocations in our paycheck allocations was short, like that $25, then we would put, emergency. Well, there's already emergency here. There's $25, the date, and then what it's for, to cover the cost of car note, let's say. So we really have this because, a lot of people do the cash envelope. That's just too much. It's too many envelopes to have. I rather, like, if we have our car insurance or renter's insurance, I rather just put in our savings, but we have a way of knowing how much goes to each. For savings, you've got emergency savings, our dog savings, maintenance. So we know what we're working with. So I'd rather just do it like that. Sorry, a little tired. Last but not least, we have our year budget. So this is, like I said, I do mine for the rest of the year. This is what we're looking at for each month that we're allocating. So the total for the rest of the year for expenses is $22,014. That's our total expenses dishing out. Our play money, $7,000. Some of these months, we get paid. We're allocating 500 a piece. So 7,000 is between the two of 7,000 between the two of us. That's 3,500 a piece. In our checking account, this is what we're allotting for the rest of the year, 241.84, in addition to what we already have. The reason why these are blank is because I updated our budget for May. So, come next year, I'll go ahead and do a full budget with all the months. But for now, just because it's May up until the end of the year, I just did it for that. So this is what we're budgeting in addition to what we already have in our checking account. This is what we have so far. So we have a surplus for the month of May. And this is, what we're estimating or budgeting for our savings. And that's in addition to what we already have in our savings in our account. So far, like for May, we're budgeting like $362.15 to go into savings. So far, we have $198.47. So we're still under $163.68. So that's how we do our end of the year. So not gross, but budgeted, we're from May till December, we're budgeting $32,031 between all three jobs, let's say. So of course it's going to be more if we had added in January through April. The reason why these are in the red is because this is the actual of what we have going on. We're only in May. So we're not even close to what we budgeted for the rest of the year. And this is the difference. This is what's remaining with all this. So I hope you like. If you would like for me to actually do a May breakdown budget of our budget, just let me know in the comments and I will go over an actual our actual May budget here. So I'll actually go over that. But just let me know in the comments. I hope you like. I hope it's not too much. Thank you. Bye bye.